mindset will make you strong.
morning. Good morning. Wake up, New Orleans. Good morning and welcome to the Good Morning Show. Happy Thursday. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Hey, OT, we miss you over here. And behind the glass, holding us all together, is super producer Nyron Sanders. So if you understand anything about me, you know I'm going to talk about schools early in the morning. And what I'm hearing is the state of Louisiana is now 40th in education. They went from 46 to 40th. That is what I'm hearing about the state of Louisiana. So look, I'm excited about it. I think improvement on any level is great. I think we need to, lift schools up when they're doing what they're supposed to be doing on behalf of children. I guess a special shout out goes to the folk over at Inspire NOLA Charter Schools. I'm hearing that they are the highest performing open enrollment school in our system of schools. So shout out to Inspire NOLA Charter Schools. In their portfolio of schools, Edna Carr is in a school. So shout out to my alma mater over there under the umbrella now of Inspire NOLA. So listen, if you can, thank a teacher today, do that. Thank an administrator today, do that. The kids are improving per the data for the state. I would like to give you a more insightful look into what that means for the schools in this city. By and large, I'm not certain. I just know that Inspire NOLA put their scores out. They were celebrating their scores. I was able to see their scores. And that is why I'm giving them a shout out. They're actually waving the banner of being the best open enrollment network on both sides of the bank. That means the East Bank and the West Bank. And so, listen, if we can celebrate our children, we're going to use any and every opportunity to do so. But as a state, this is what the data says. Louisiana has achieved its highest national ranking ever, moving from 46th to 40th. The state is tanked at the top of a national list recognizing states for adopting a comprehensive early literacy policy. It says fourth graders improved from 42nd to 11th in reading on the nation's report card, which can be found at this link that I'm going to click because I want to see that link. It also says Louisiana is one of 3 states where the average reading achievement in 2023 was above their reading levels in 2019. The cohort graduation rate has increased. I know some people don't understand what that word means when you hear it, cohort, but it's literally the grouping that you start with, the grouping that you should end with. So if your cohort starts at 58 kids in the ninth grade, then you should expect to see 58 kids when they graduate or an increase. But it's very concerning when you see a decrease because then the question becomes, where are those kids? Where are they? Right? So that's that part of it. So the cohort graduation rate has increased. And then it says Louisiana maintained leap gains made over the past 2 years. And then K through 3 improved reading scores by 10 percentage points on the state's first universal literacy screening. Again, this is the state of Louisiana. This is not particular to the city of New Orleans. Here's a quote from our state superintendent of education, Dr. Kay Brumley. Louisiana students continue to make progress. A third consecutive year of growth is a testament to the many talented educators across our state and student-first commitment from Governor Landry. Now, look, I'm going to go full stop right there because I don't understand why we say these things. Governor Landry has been in office all but 30 seconds. So we're not going to act as if his leadership has anything to do with this data. This data is from the previous administration. So let's be very clear there. We have yet to see what the governor's reign is going to do in terms of education or any other metrics of quality of living. So full stop right there. I was reading the direct quote, and I just want to be very, very clear. There's not a data point that's going to come out that you could attribute to this current administration because he just got here. He ain't even taken his clothes out of his suitcase yet. We're not going to do that. So I will go back to the quote. It says, Louisiana students continue to make progress. A third consecutive year of growth is a testament to the many talented educators across our state. And I'm just going to put a pause right there, period. The rest of that, we're not doing that. And so there's a lot of data points that I see here by parish. But very tellingly, I don't see New Orleans. I see Kettle Parish, Bossier Parish, DeSoto Parish, Natchitoches Parish, Webster Parish, Claiborne Parish, Bienville Parish, Red River Parish, and Sabine Parish. I do not see New Orleans specifically as a snapshot. So I'm going to find it and I'm going to look into it so I can give you that information. But nonetheless, shout out to the educators, students, faculty and staff, all the school leaders across the state. We have moved from 46th to 40th. And shout out to these individual parishes that they've decided to list in this article because I'm assuming that is where the graphic gains came from to help push the state forward. Now, that reading rate, the fourth graders improving from 42nd to 11th, I need to be able to look at the national report card and see exactly what that's talking about. But nonetheless, shout out to the state of Louisiana for moving from 46th to 40th in education, and shout out to Inspire NOLA Charter Schools for being the number one open enrollment school system of schools in our current system of schools. So congratulations to Jamar McNeely, his faculty, staff, and student body, and the parents as well of that organization. So we always want to give credit where credit is due. So that is your quick synopsis on what is going on in terms of education for our babies. Over on Black Source Media, there's an article too that's talking about Governor Landry's war on children. So I just thought that was like an oxymoron. You know, it says Governor Landry's shocking war against Louisiana's children, and then for the article to give him kudos about us making gains in education is pretty weird. He hasn't even been here long enough. But the article is talking about kids being placed in adult prisons. As you do know, I talked early on in the week about Senate Bill 1 and Senate Bill 2. That is, one of those bills is talking directly about expanding the crimes that children can be charged as adults for, thus putting them on path to share prison cells with adults. And so if you're not familiar with these Senate bills, I'm asking you to look into it and make certain that you offer your voice, even if you have to send a email to your legislators, to your local delegations who represent you at the state capitol, and lift your voice and say what you think should happen there. If you need if you need some information on it, Governor Landry's shocking war against Louisiana's children can be found on Black Source Media, the source of independent thought and analysis, and the writer is Kenneth Cooper. It was written November 17, 2024, so you can take a look at it, inform yourself about what the governor is trying to do in terms of expanding charges that would ultimately place our juveniles on a path of being charged as adults and thus being able to be housed with adults. So I think that's very scary. But again, this is why voting matters. And I'm going to keep reminding you guys that there's an election coming up December 7th. There are 4 amendments on the ballot. In addition to those 4 amendments, there's a local school board race here. There's a runoff between Gabriella Biro and Dr. Eric Jones. That is going to be the final seat that comprises our school board here in New Orleans. And so it is very imperative that we get out and vote. We do know that oftentimes when there's not a big ticket on the ballot, such as a governor or a president, it's very hard to get folk out to the polls. But your school board race should be just as important as voting for your governor, voting for your mayor, voting for your president. So please get out and vote. There are 4 amendments on the ballot. I gave you a rundown about them yesterday. You could also find them on parlouisiana.org, and it's going to say PAR, P-A-R, Guide to the 2024 Constitutional Amendments. And all you have to do is scroll down. They're literally going to list the amendments, tell you how they're going to appear on your ballot, and then they're going to break it down in terms of what voting for it will get you, what voting against it will get you, and you can just make certain that you make yourself aware of what's going on. I think yesterday I actually read the amendment from the previous election. So forgive me for doing that. I gave y'all way too much information. Y'all didn't need that one. We already voted on that one. But there are 4 amendments there that you do have to vote on. And I was even shocked. I didn't know that there were 4 amendments on this upcoming ballot, but there are. And the first one says, do you support an amendment to allow the Supreme Court to sanction a judge upon an investigation by the Judiciary Commission and provide that the recommended sanction shall be instituted by the Judiciary Commission or by a majority of the Supreme Court, and to provide for the appointment of 5 members of the Judiciary Commission. Amendment 2 says, do you support an amendment to require that the legislator wait for at least 48 hours prior to concurring in a conference committee report or amendments to a bill appropriating money? Amendment 3, do you support an amendment to allow the legislator to extend a regular session in increments of 2 days up to a maximum of 6 days if necessary to pass a bill appropriating money? It's a lot to do with money on this ballot, y'all. Amendment 4, do you support an amendment to eliminate mandatory tax sales for non-payment of property taxes and require the legislator to provide for such procedures by law, to limit the amount of penalty and interest on delinquent property taxes, and to provide for the postponement of property tax payments under certain circumstances? Those are the 4 amendments that you'll have to deal with on this ballot. And so I'm imploring you guys to get up, get out, and vote. So that is what is on your ballot for this upcoming December 7th election. If you, listen, you know Pop Jones is always on it. He's up really, really early. Good morning, Pop Jones. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, Dr. White.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. Well, look, I was wondering, this voting that's coming up. See, I'm in a union, and we have about 4 or 5 guys that's politically savvy, and they know about all this, and they usually recommend. Now, this is something that's coming up that after we voted for the president. I'm trying to understand what we voting on.
Yes, you're going to vote. So there's a runoff on the last time you.
Oh, it's a runoff.
Yeah, the
okay.
last time you voted, you were voted for
How
school
many
board.
people? See, they usually advise us and tell us the best candidates to vote for. So when is this coming up, Dr. Wise?
So this is going to be December 7th. You're going to have the election day is going to be December 7th. The last time you voted, there were 2 school board races. One of them was decided on that election day, but one of them went into a runoff. And so the Orleans Parish School Board runoff between Gabriella Biro and Eric Jones will decide the next school board member for District 2. So that's on your ballot. And then you have 4 constitutional amendments to vote on. So you can start voting on November 22nd as early as tomorrow. Early voting starts tomorrow.
I do. I have to check on that.
Yes.
Well, look, Dr. Wise.
Yes, sir.
As myself, a lover of children, I never been a school teacher, but I taught Sunday school for a long time. And a lot of the children I taught, they're grown now. One of the persons that's passed through my church was the young man that ran for governor. What is it, Sean Wilson?
Yes, sir.
His mama and his uncle, his grandmother, his grandfather, we all was in the same church at that time. And some of those kids have grown up, and they still see me and respect me at this time. And when I hear how the love that you have for children, what position was that you ran for?
I ran for the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education, which is the state school board, Bessie. It's called Bessie. So that's the seat I ran for.
Well, have you thought about running for this job that Dr. Williams is giving up? I mean,
well, here's the thing, Pop. You don't run for it. That's basically.
They appoint you.
Yes.
Pick you.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's the way that works.
Yes.
But in my opinion, you sound like you're well qualified But then I want to ask you another question, Dr. Wise. It seems like the mayor is with the seeming for I'm using the right word, incognito. Every time you look up, she out the country.
Well,
What is going on with that?
so I can't I can't assume I know what's going on with that. I don't know if the office requires her to travel as much as she does. All I can say is I would like to believe that when she's out of the country, she's doing business on behalf of the city. That is what I can give you because
but
I'm not aware.
Things be going on, and you don't hear from her.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's something that we can reach out and ask her to be a guest on the show, and so she can answer questions from our listening audience the same way our congressman does, the same way our chief of police does. Maybe we can reach out and ask her, but I will not speak on her behalf. I just don't know.
Well, Dr. Wise, you know me. I smell a rat. Yes,
Listen,
I do.
I will not argue with what you smell. All I can tell you is I will put the request out for her to join us here on the Good Morning Show, and if she accepts, I'm certain you'll be listening in. You're welcome, Pop. Have a good day.
All right.
Bye-bye. Listen, before we go to break, I want to be very clear about the early voting time frame. You can start to early vote as early as tomorrow, November 22nd through November 30th, excluding Sunday, November 24th, Thursday, November 28th, and Friday, November 29th. Early voting opens up at 8:30. It closes at 6 p.m. As long as you're in that line before 6, please cast your vote. The deadline to request an absentee ballot is December 3rd by 4:30 p.m. Requests can be made online by visiting voterportal.sos.la.gov and selecting Request Absentee Ballot or in person at the Parish Register of Voters office. So please do not forget, we absolutely have an election coming up on December 7th, and the most important thing on that ballot is the Orleans Parish School Board runoff between Gabriella Bureau and Dr. Eric J. Jones for the District 2 School Board seat. So if you are not aware, yes, you have to vote December 7th. Early voting starts tomorrow, November 22nd. Stay with us. On the other side of the break, you know Thursdays belong to our congressman. We will hear from Congressman Troy Carter on the other side of the break. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
Hey everybody, it's Graylin Bryant Banks.
And Kimber White Dupree.
From the front porch, y'all. You know how we do every Monday. It's Moving Monday.
And Tuesday, it's Trivia Tuesday.
And y'all know we have nothing but bad cheering coming through here on Wednesday.
But stick with us. On Thursday, we travel.
That's right. And Friday's Free Your Mind Friday, so get your brass up.
Something on your mind? Want to get it off your chest?
Holla at your people. WBOK 1230 AM, the station you listen to
all day long.
Good morning and happy Thursday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. A quick alert for anyone who lives or has family in St. James Parish. A gas outage prompted utility crews to work through the night, going door to door to turn off gas and pilot lights at homes in the South Vacherie community. Officials say the outage was caused from a distribution issue with the pipeline, but they claim no gas has leaked out. If you do smell gas, though, call 911. Then the New Orleans Police Department is investigating a shooting in New Orleans East. We're told a man was shot along Night Drive around 7 p.m. on Wednesday. He was taken to a local hospital. This morning, there is no word on his condition or a suspect. Also in New Orleans, the City Council is expected to give its final approval to next year's budget later today. Mayor Cantrell's 2025 proposed budget is set to prioritize health initiatives, economic development, affordable housing, and quality of life improvements. That includes several projects like providing $10 million to redevelop the former Charity Hospital and $250,000 to address illegal dumping. And the folks at MSY are issuing an early reminder if you are flying this Thanksgiving. They say arrive early, have your proper identification ready to go when you get to the TSA counter, and research ahead of time so you know what you can and can't bring in your carry-on. And that's today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU. Have a great Thursday.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
Welcome to Chemical of the Month, a service of the community scientist and Rise St. James. This month, we're focusing on lead, a heavy metal that's dense, soft, and poses serious health risks. In Cancer Alley, lead exposure from industrial emissions or contaminated soil can significantly increase cancer risks and other health problems. Stay informed and protect your health. For more information, visit risestjames.org.
New Orleans, get ready for Inspire Fest. Join us on December 7th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at McDonough 35 High School for a day of family, fun, music, and a chance to learn more about Inspire NOLA Schools, the highest performing open enrollment schools in the city. Enjoy live performances by Tanya Boyd Cannon, Brassaholics, and BJ So Cole. Bring the family, enjoy the entertainment, and see what makes Inspire NOLA different. Don't miss this unforgettable day. Find out more at inspirenolaschools.org. Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
WBOK and LCMC Health are proud to present the Keeping You Well Cafe, 60 minutes of LCMC Health, where doctors speak directly to the people of New Orleans. LCMC Health is committed to improving the quality of health care in the New Orleans area, the Gulf South, and beyond. The Keeping You Well Cafe is another way for LCMC Health to engage with the community. Over the next few months, LCMC Health will join WBOK and local businesses to answer your health and wellness questions. Through this partnership, LCMC Health will provide resources to the community, including subject matter experts from the hospitals that will share expertise on health concerns and wellness practices to help you live your best life. Tune in to WBOK during the last hour of the reality check, or catch us at lcmchealth.org and follow us on social media.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. If you've been listening at least a day or two, you understand that Thursdays belong to our congressman. And on the phone with us right now at this moment is Congressman Troy Carter. Good morning, Congressman. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy to be with you guys as always.
Absolutely. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Looking forward to getting back home and getting into the Thanksgiving cheer. You know, this Saturday will be my 32nd annual Thanksgiving dinner that we provide Thanksgiving dinner with all the trimmings to any who are in need this Saturday at Alice Hart School in Algiers from 11 to 2. 32 years God's blessed us to be able to provide meals to people in the community. It's a real family affair with me and the West Bank delegation of elected officials and all of our friends and family. It's a great time to be had, and we invite people to come out. It's based purely on the honor system. We don't require a driver's license, proof of residency, or even proof of need. It's purely on the honor system, an opportunity for us to demonstrate, in my estimation, the true meaning of Thanksgiving.
Well, listen, you've been providing that dinner for almost as long as I've been alive. Lord, 32 years, that's a long time, Congressman.
That's a long time.
Yes, that's a long time. So listen, I'm hearing that you're sleeping out tonight.
I am. Thanks to you for the invitation. Dr. Wyatt, my dear friend, shared with me
the opportunity to sleep out with Covenant House at their Sleep Out event. Covenant House is putting together an event, as they do every year, to bring awareness to the homelessness issue in our community. And Dr. Wyatt sent me an invitation that she was going to be participating and invited me to do so. And I jumped at the opportunity to use my office and energy to support this very, very worthy cause. We know that homelessness is a real issue in our community, and together we have to find a way to stamp it out. In America, one of the richest countries in the world, there's no way we should have anyone homeless or hungry in America.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. And if you cannot sleep out, there are ways that you can donate to Covenant House. Every dollar that is raised, whether you're a sleeper or a person who's donating, every dollar goes to Covenant House to combat youth homelessness. So it's a wonderful initiative to be a part of and to support. So thank you, Congressman, for even offering yourself up to sleep out with us tonight to raise money for those babies. So that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Happy to do it. Looking forward to it. And hopefully we'll work ourselves out of a job that we will end homelessness. And instead of simply moving people from the sight of others, we'll move them from the sight of others by putting them into homes of their own.
Well, listen, we're so grateful to have you serving on behalf of us here in the city of New Orleans. And so let's talk about some of this wonderful stuff you're doing. The New Orleans and Downtown Development District received dual Safe Streets and Roads for all federal DOT awards. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, this week New Orleans announced that where the Downtown Development District, through the Department of Public Works, has received a DOTD grant, Safe Streets and Roads for All. This is a big deal to make sure that we are providing resources for our downtown. The Downtown Development District has done a phenomenal job of keeping the sidewalks clean and safe and utilizing the business spaces to make sure that we have good tenants that are in the buildings, working on the upper floors to encourage downtown residency, but also in the warehouse district and the surrounding areas that are under the jurisdiction of Downtown Development District. So this is an opportunity for the Office of Resilience and Sustainability to work on doing just that, and to create a safer, cleaner, more livable downtown. So really excited about that. It's also the first $360,000 will go to the Roadway Lighting Safety Supplemental Grant that will create adequate nighttime roadway lighting for New Orleans. The second part of that will be $150,000 for the Downtown Development District's supplemental grant, which will focus on the CBD, analyze downtown-specific safety concerns, and make sure that we have a resolution to the challenge or conflicts between pedestrians, bicycles, and vehicular traffic. We know that as we are turning to a greener, cleaner environment, we're encouraging people to use transportation modes that have fewer carbon emissions. So bicycles, and we're encouraging more people to use them. We have to also make sure that we have safe zones, that those who are on bicycles have to recognize that the rules of the law are for them as well. And motorists have to be very mindful that there will be an increased usage of bicycles, and we want people to be bicycle friendly, both in the vehicle and those on bicycles.
Absolutely. And it also says here that Louisiana leads the nation in broadband deployments, and there's like a $1.355 billion in total through these awards. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so what's really exciting is very proud to have worked on this with the bipartisan infrastructure bill, for which I served on the Transportation Infrastructure Committee when this bill was being drafted, and was very excited to play a role in crafting it, passing it, and now being able to see the efforts come to fruition. Louisiana leads the way with a $1.3 billion total in these awards to support broadband. making sure that people throughout the state would have access to broadband. We know that in some communities it's been a luxury, and others it has not been a luxury afforded. But we also know that with distant learning, telehealth, and all the other work from home opportunities, broadband is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. And thanks to the Biden-Harris administration and the bipartisan infrastructure bill, we've been able to once again have Louisiana lead in an area that we're very proud of. That is providing broadband to the people of Louisiana. Gumbo 2.0 will expand fiber optic connectivities to some 140,000 locations, supporting 100,000 households, 35,000 small businesses, and 4,000 community anchor institutions. What this boils down to is economic opportunity, closing the digital divide, and making sure that regardless of your zip code or your socioeconomic status, no one is being left behind, which was a real mantra of the Biden-Harris administration. Very proud of the work that President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris did for the American people. Their legacy will live on because these dollars will be life-changing dollars that will change the face of our communities, provide opportunities for people. And as I always say, and you always say, and WBOK always says, elections have consequences. And when you elect people that care for you and really work toward bringing resource to you, you see the fruit of that labor. Fortunately, we will be seeing the fruit of the labor of the Biden-Harris administration for generations to come. Unfortunately, we won't see a Kamala Harris presidency this year, but who knows what the future will bring. Let's continue to work together in a goal to make life easier, fair, and more inclusive for all of our people.
Absolutely. Listen, if you're just joining us, it is Thursday, so you know we're having conversations with our congressman. If you have a question or concern or even a kudos for your congressman, the number here is 504-582-9422. Now, I don't know if there are any other things that you want to share with me about all of the wonderful things you're doing for this state, but I have to talk to you about these cabinet picks by the president-elect and get your insight on what you think about them. We talked about them in depth yesterday. I gave the listening audience all of the appointees and all of the people he's tapped to be in certain positions, but the one that stands out, the educator in me, of course, is the person he's tapped to run the Department of Education, which is Linda McMahon, and she comes from the WWE sphere in terms of entertainment and wrestling. That's where she comes from. And so, what are your thoughts on these cabinet picks?
I'm terrified. I'm blown away in the worst possible way. When we think about someone from the entertainment world in WWE to be head of education, someone that doesn't have a background in education, someone that doesn't have the expertise that we are accustomed to for the person that heads such a hefty and important organization. But the underlying message there is, remember, under Trump's Project 2025, the whole notion is to dismantle and get rid of the education department. So it makes sense that you would have someone that is head of a known for being head of an organization that is tearing down WWE, World Federation of Wrestling, or Worldwide, whatever it's called these days. Yeah. But the bottom line is this: it can't be serious, right? You can't be serious about making sure that our people are educated, that we're competitive in a world space on a global scale, if you have someone who talks about the demise of education. You can't be serious about our health care when you talk about appointing Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to be head of our health systems when he has such challenging views on health care, immunizations, and the like. He has denounced the whole notion that COVID was real or the impacts of it, and that we shouldn't have had vaccinations. I mean, these are things that are just bizarre. Or to even have in Louisiana, which is something that's very near dear to me and to many others, and that is the necessity of having clean water and clean air for our citizens. We know that with the compilation of petrochemical plants nestled in the state of Louisiana, that we have incredibly challenged environmental issues that we have to continue to manage. And I often say coexistence. Industry won't go away. Industry plays a role, but industry has to be good partners. They have to end pollution. They have to follow the rules of EPA. They have to protect the communities that are in its proximity and beyond. Industry can't survive if it does not have healthy communities. So its number one issue must be to have healthy communities with clean water, clean air, and an atmosphere that is viable to maintain our Earth. But you have a person that is slated to be appointed to be the EPA administrator who believes that climate change is a hoax. How can you begin that as your premise? Or the attempt to nominate Matt Gaetz to be Attorney General, the highest law enforcement agent in our country, who is under investigation for statutory rape, alleged pedophile, and illicit drug use, and many other things, yet this person is being slated to be our Attorney General. Secretary of Defense, you've got a gentleman who is a major in the National Guard, in the Army National Guard. Most of our, if not all of our previous Secretary of Defenses have been 4-star generals, top of their game. This person is an alleged white supremacist who has very strong issues with women in the military.
And he's also been accused of sexual assault.
and accused of sexual assault.
Yes.
So when you look at all of these things, you have to wonder, are you attempting to build our government, or are you attempting to tear our government down? Are you attempting to make a farce of the men and women in the military who have led with distinction, and now the attempt is to be the agent of its demise? Are you attempting to build a stronger America, or are you attempting to weaken our democracy? We have to be aware. People have to stay in the game. Yes, the election is over, and we will have to deal with its consequences, but it doesn't mean that we're going to roll over and just take it.
Right. Well,
This
Reverend
is a
Calhoun
clarion
is on the
call that
line.
we should all wake up and be a part of.
Reverend Calhoun is on the line for you, Congressman. Good morning, Reverend Calhoun. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning to all. The easiest
morning,
way
Rev.
to destroy something is to put incompetent leadership at the front of it. My concern is for those federal workers, because one of the things Mr. Musk is speaking of is now reducing the size of the government. My question to you, Congressman, is those who have federal retirements is controlled by Congress. Is there any possibility that they will go after federal retirement payments, veterans disability payments, anything that Congress controls in terms of giving money back to the public? Is that, in your view, is that the goal they're trying to go to? And looking forward to seeing you before you go back this time.
Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Rev, thank you very much for this leadership. I will tell you, Rev, you hit on some very key points. And I will tell you that we are guarding and preparing for everything that they might do. While we have they have a slim majority in the House, they still control the House. We will be, looks like at its final count, will probably be 4 or 5 votes behind them, which will give them the majority. Our goal will be, as we hoped, we would have been playing more offense, being able to advance issues that are important to America. looks like we're going to be forced to be in a position to do more blocking and tackling, blocking bad policies and avoiding the kind of things that you just mentioned, dealing with attempting to take away Social Security or reducing or eliminating the workforce by getting rid of people who have been career civil servants, or, God forbid, affecting the livelihood of our retirees, whether it be military or any other federal employee, or the privatization of Veterans Affairs, which would be devastating to the men and women who have served with distinction in our country. All of these things are on the radar screen. We will be watching attentively. We will be using the kind of forum that WBOK provides for us every day, and me every week, an opportunity to keep the public informed on what's going on in Washington, what's going on abroad, what's going on in our state, to make sure that we are aware, because an educated and informed electorate is the best electorate, because we should, even though there's this notion that woke is a bad word, we must maintain our ability and our consciousness to be awake and to listen and participate in all that's happening. There's a move afoot to change our democracy, to maybe even diminish our democracy, and we are not going to sit back idly and let that happen. So to answer your question, any attempts to dilute or to take away people's retirement benefits will be fought vigorously. We'll be fighting to the end to make sure that does not happen.
Listen, if you're just joining us, we're in conversations with our Congressman Troy Carter. We have to go to break. Cedric, can you hold on for us, please? On the other side of the break, we will have more right here. It is Congressman Troy Carter, Thursdays on WBOK 1230 AM. Stay with us on the other side of the break.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Today is a lot colder. You'll be able to tell that difference. Morning temperatures for the next couple of days will be into the 30s for the North Shore and the 40s for the South Shore. There's even the potential for frost on Friday. Today, though, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-60s. More mid-60s continue through Saturday for the highs before warming back to the 70s for Sunday. We're also staying dry for the next several days. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Mommy, want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with DayQuil VapoCool. It's DayQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let Mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is DayQuil VapoCool.
DayQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Delgado Community College offers programs in business, technology, health sciences, and the arts, with over 100 career-focused degrees and certificates that are affordable, flexible, and transferable. We can give you the knowledge and skills to succeed. Delgado is a great fit if you're starting your post-high school education, or we can help you advance or change your career. Take a step toward being unstoppable at Delgado Community College. Visit dcc.edu to learn more today.
Life is made of unforgettable moments. Being with the people you love and doing the things you love to do. But if you're over 75 or 60 plus with certain health conditions, you're at higher risk for severe illness from RSV. An RSV vaccine can reduce that risk, so you can be there for all those moments you've yet to make. Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank, there's freedom here.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. If you are just joining us, we are in conversation with our Congressman Troy Carter. And on the line with us is Shedrick. Good morning, Shedrick. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, Dr. Y. Good morning, Congressman Carter.
Good morning, sir.
I have two quick concerns. Congressman, if it's possible, could you please help this Louisiana State Democratic Party to get on the right path, per se, and to get where they will be in the community, because there are midterm elections. I know people say this is a red state, but it's actually a blue state, but people vote red because there are more registered Democrats than registered Republicans. And lastly, could you also help us in the film industry, because we're losing a lot of films to they're going overseas. There are about 60 projects that are going overseas, and I'll hang up and listen. And thank you for all the millions that you get to your congressional district, which is more than Orleans Parish.
Thank you so much, Cedric.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Cedric. You mentioned very important points. I will tell you that, and as it relates to film and film tax credits, as you may be aware, the Louisiana legislature is in session as we speak. One of the things that is being discussed is the elimination or reduction of the film tax credits. Film tax credits have proven to be incredibly beneficial to Louisiana because they have attracted the type of industry that is providing jobs and taxation for the people of Louisiana. All throughout the state has benefited from the movie industry. Well, if we take away these tax credits, we're going to jeopardize and threaten that economic engine that it provides, the jobs that it provides, and the notoriety that we get right here in New Orleans. So I'd encourage you, Cedric, to visit the state capitol, talk to your state representatives and state senators, encourage others to phone call the governor's office, send emails and text messages, or go jump in the car and drive there and testify before one of the committees, asking them to please reevaluate the tax credits, that we should be very careful to not have them go away because they have proven to have very strong returns on investment. Our film industry has been bustling for years. We started working on this in the early 90s, pushing for and encouraging the kind of growth that would provide for what we now see as a bustling movie industry in Louisiana. Removal or challenging the tax credits will hurt that greatly.
Well, thank you for that insight, Congressman. There's another question I want to ask you about. Earlier on in the segment, I was talking about Senate Bill 2, which is the governor's initiative to expand the charges that the offenses kids can be charged with, to ultimately charge them as adults and to send them to adult prisons. Are you familiar with Senate Bill 2, and what is your insight there?
I'm familiar with it, and I think it is inhumane to treat children as adults. These children that commit these crimes that may be under the age, clearly there's something wrong. Their brains haven't fully developed, and their actions are not in any way acceptable, but you have to treat it accordingly. And the notion that we will just throw everyone into a bottomless pit regardless of circumstance, is cruel and unusual punishment, and I think is probably going to be deemed unconstitutional. Not that anyone forgives someone who commits a heinous crime. They should be punished for their crimes.
Absolutely.
But they should be put in a place that is commensurate to their age and their crime. So the notion that we're going to just lock up children as if they're adults is one that I think we have to absolutely push back against. We have a system of laws, and we have to abide by those laws, and those who violate those laws should be punished, but they should be punished appropriately, and they should be placed into a prison that is adequate and prepared for their crime, their age, and gender.
I knew you would have some insight on it because for me, Congressman, I'm not understanding how there's even a crime bill being proposed in a special session that was supposed to be focused on Texas. And so it felt disingenuous to me. I don't know how to feel about that. Like, we come here to talk about Texas, but then you're on the floor proposing a crime bill that is centered on putting more youth in adult facilities.
And that's a very accurate point, because the call of the special session is on taxation. And so I don't know how that slipped through, under what hook or crook or loophole they were able to make that fit. But you're absolutely correct. The special session is dealt with tax reform, and that should be what they're dealing with. But like we've seen in other cases, people find ways to slip in. The devil is always in the detail, and that's why, again, I always preach that we should maintain our being vigilant, paying attention to these things, calling in. Don't let it just happen. Jump in the car, go to Baton Rouge, get on the Twitter feed, bring attention to it. Church groups, fraternities, sororities, organizations, individuals, whatever. We have to stay engaged and challenge the governor, challenge the members of the House and Senate, that we're not going to just let you do these things. And as I always say, we may not have the vote, but you always have your voice.
Absolutely. Listen, I'm always ever so grateful to share space with you and to be able to pick your brain about things concerning the state of Louisiana. And so on behalf of WBOK, we want to thank you for always availing yourself to us. But I'll see you tonight. So this is not a goodbye. This is just a see you later. I'll see you tonight for the sleep out
later.
On behalf of Covenant House. So thank you, Congressman, so much for all you do in service to this community and the state of Louisiana. Thank you so much.
God bless you, Dr. Wyatt, for your incredible service, not only BOK, but the rest of us in the education and activist world. We love you. We appreciate you. God bless WBOK. And to all the callers that called in today and all the listeners, thank you very much, and have a fantastic and blessed Thanksgiving. God bless you. God bless WBOK.
Thank you so much, Congressman. Have a great one. Listen, we are so blessed here to be able to pick the brain of our congressman. And if you are not familiar with Senate Bill 2, you can visit Black Source Media. And the title of the article is Governor Landry's Shocking War Against Louisiana's Children. It is authored by Kenneth Cooper. It was written on November 17th, 2024. And it just lays out what this is really, truly all about. I don't understand how we could accept a session to be called for one thing, and then we pivot so very hard to make it about something else. It almost seems like you're trying to sneak through the back door, which you couldn't get in the front door. That's how it makes me feel. It doesn't feel good. And anytime children are under attack, it should get all of our attention, which brings me to a story out in Baton Rouge. Attorney Ryan Thompson of the Thompson Institute is once again fighting the good fight. There's a kid out in Baton Rouge. The police show up to their home. There's a drive-by shooting that took place. The police believe that the child has some information about who perpetrated this act of violence. And because the kid is not complying, maybe he's afraid. I mean, if someone shut up your house, I think you'd be slow to talk about it with the police as well. And he was apprehensive about talking to the police because his home was just shot up. And so the remedy or the solution was for the police officers. One of them held his wrists, the other one held his ankles, and his mom beat him. And what Ryan Thompson is calling a lashing. That is how he referenced the beating. But she's beating him to get him to comply with the police officers. And my problem with that is this. If there were no police officers present and that mom did the exact same thing, she would be facing criminal charges. We can't even beat our own kids with belts and objects and not face some sort of criminal complaint, right? You can't even go to school and chastise your children in front of teachers or administrators. They will put a call into CPS on you because they're mandated reporters. So I think it's very odd that the police officers could hold this child's wrists and hold his ankles and allow the mom to beat him, all under the guise of receiving information from him about a crime. It is your duty to investigate crimes. It is your duty to look into the who, what, when, where, and how. It's not the child's duty to give you that information, especially if it jeopardizes his very life. So we have to do something about protecting our children, and it starts with pushing back against Senate Bill 2. Call your local legislators and tell them this is not something that you want. We are not going to throw our kids in prison as a means of solving a crime epidemic that is all across this country, not just in the state of Louisiana, not just in the city of New Orleans. But listen, on the other side of the break, we're going to talk to Chriselle Stipe from the Louisiana Campaign for a Tobacco-Free Living. Yesterday, we had our partners from Ochsner talking about a smoke cessation program. Today, we'll talk to Chriselle Stipe from the Louisiana Campaign for a Tobacco-Free Living. Stay with us right here on WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
WBOK 1230 AM New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know from BIN News. The Justice Department wants a federal court to force Google to sell off its popular Chrome web browser as part of an antitrust case. The request, made Wednesday, comes after a court ruled in August that the company holds a monopoly in the online search market. A man accused of a mass shooting that killed 3 University of Virginia football players has pled guilty to multiple charges connected to the case. Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. entered his guilty plea yesterday. Jones is accused of opening fire on a bus returning from a field trip in November 2022. The U.S. is reopening its embassy in Ukraine after fears of a Russian attack. The embassy in Kyiv was shut down Wednesday morning after it issued an urgent warning that Russia might launch a significant air attack. And Pamela Hayden, the voice of Milhouse Van Houten on The Simpsons, is stepping away after 35 years. Her final performance will be this Sunday in a Treehouse of Horror episode. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
New Schools for New Orleans, along with Allstate Sugar Bowl and Entergy New Orleans, would like to send a huge congratulations to our class of 2024 New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Award honorees. This year, we had 90 Teachers of the Year from each public school in New Orleans. Each of them was recognized at our annual gala, where we had over 350 attendees. We're excited to also share that each honoree is receiving a $1,000 classroom grant. Thank you for everything you do, teachers.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I want to once again thank our Congressman Troy Carter for availing himself to us each and every Thursday to talk about the states of Louisiana and all of the wonderful things he's doing on behalf of the citizenry here. So thank you once again to our Congressman. But right now on the phone, we have Chriselle Stipe from the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living. Good morning, Chriselle. How are you? Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning.
Listen, it's always a pleasure to talk to new folk. I enjoy meeting new people. But as I said earlier, we had our partners from Ochsner on yesterday talking about their smoking cessation program. So this kind of fits right in talking about Louisiana's campaign for a tobacco-free living. What does that look like?
So the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living, and we call it TFL for short, it's a program. It's part of the Louisiana Cancer Research Center and also the Louisiana Public Health Institute. And what we do is we implement and we evaluate tobacco control initiatives, and this is to help reduce and prevent tobacco use across the state and also eliminate the exposure to secondhand smoke.
So how does the Louisiana Cancer Research Center and the Louisiana Public Health Institute support TFL in its tobacco control initiatives?
Well, actually, our program under Louisiana Public Health Institute is we're the tobacco focus, focusing on prevention of different chronic diseases. And Louisiana Cancer Research Center is actually our funder, and our work is a part of the research center as far as cancer prevention.
So listen, I'm hearing Thursday, November 21st, which is today, is the day designated as the Great American Smokeout. What is the Great American Smokeout?
So the Great American Smokeout is, it first started 50 years ago by the American Cancer Society. It was basically a national movement to combat tobacco use. It's held every third Thursday of November. The first one was in 1976, and at that time, 1 million people quit smoking for the day. So it became very significant. And so every third Thursday of November, we celebrate and promote the Great American Smokeout, which we call GASO for short. This year, we have a number of events in Louisiana, across the state actually. But we do have an event today in New Orleans. It's given by the Alpha Lambda chapter of Omega Psi Phi, and it's at Southern University in New Orleans. It's from 11 to 2 today. And we have other events across the state, and if anyone is interested in finding out where we're having a GASO event, they can go to our website at www.tobaccofreeliving.org to find out where we're going to be located.
So TFL is dedicated to helping individuals quit smoking and embrace healthier, smoke-free lives. What's the significance of quitting even for just one day?
Well, definitely, we know that the new year is coming up, and at that time, a lot of people think about changing those habits and changing those routines and living healthier lives. But we want people to start thinking about it and try to quit for a day, try to avoid the cigarette or any type of tobacco for the day to see how it goes, and start thinking about your journey to trying to quit. The significance is making people aware of the actual issues with using tobacco products and smoking, and how it's going to improve and benefit their lives, especially when you're talking about chronic illnesses and diseases, especially in our community.
So what support resources does TFL provide for those who wish to quit smoking, particularly on GASO?
Yes, if anyone is ready to quit smoking or quit using any type of tobacco products, then that includes vaping, they can text the word READY to the number 34191, or they can call 1-800-QUIT-NOW to get started. Through that program, they will get to speak with a quit coach who will try to identify their reasons as to why they're smoking and what their specific habits are, and they will make a plan to address specifically how that individual can quit.
So what do you say to folk who don't necessarily smoke themselves, but they are always immersed around folk who do smoke? What are the implications of secondhand smoke?
So yes, with secondhand smoke, if you're around someone who's smoking, I would say for about 20 minutes, you're increasing your risk of heart attack and stroke. So being around secondhand smoke does cause chronic illnesses in those who don't smoke. Secondhand smoke is basically the smoke that's being exhaled by the smoker, and also the smoke that's streaming from the end of the cigarette. So it's two types of smoke, and that smoke is not being filtered. So it does have implications on those around you who do not smoke. And some of the efforts that we're working on is our part in eliminating exposure to secondhand smoke is that we're working with communities and educating communities around the harms. And to this date, we actually have 37 out of the total 304 municipalities within the state. 37 of them have created smoke-free indoor environments in their communities. So it's something that we work across the state with communities and trying to make more municipalities smoke-free so people's indoor air can be safe to breathe.
So speaking of those municipalities that have promoted smoke-free indoor environments, can you discuss the current status of smoke-free ordinances in the state?
So right now, of course, we have our state smoke-free air law, which includes totally smoke-free except for bars and casinos. Specific cities have decided to include casinos in their local laws, which is stronger than the state law. But some of the municipalities, we are able to have stricter laws than the overall state law.
So what are some of the barriers that prevent more municipalities in Louisiana from adopting smoke-free policies, and how does TFL work to overcome them?
So some things that hinder is that a lot of businesses and companies and municipalities are concerned about companies actually coming to their city. They think it's going to reduce their revenue within bars and casinos and industry. And so that's a fear, but we actually have data that shows that there's no revenue loss when you go smoke-free. And so that's the hindrance. So that's some of the things that we're battling, those lobbyists that are pushing to keep, smoking within the environment. And what we do is that we have coalitions across the state that TFL staff are a part of, and we work together within communities to continue to educate and continue to speak with city councils in big cities and small towns across the state, just moving them more towards adopting a smoke-free ordinance.
And it also says here that individuals without a high school diploma have a smoking rate of 44% compared to just 12% among college graduates. And the smoking rate in Louisiana varies significantly by education level. Why do you think individuals without a high school diploma have such a high smoking rate? And how can TFL address this issue?
Yeah, so that's part of the disparity, the health and equity disparity around tobacco use and smoking. We just find, and this is across the country, we find that more individuals with a high school diploma smoke more. Also, those with low income in rural areas. So that is a disparity there. That's something that we address where our services and our work and our awareness and promotion, we actually focus on those specific priority populations because their smoking rates are higher than the general population. And of course, it stems from, systemic issues such as increased stress from low-income jobs, not being able to afford health care. So those social determinants of health can lead folks to actually smoke more and use more substances.
So in your professional opinion, how does poverty intersect with tobacco use?
Well, with poverty, there's an increase in stress when you're dealing with poverty. There's a concern of how am I going to feed my family? I'm having a hard time finding a job. And so these are substances that help people cope. And so they've identified tobacco as a way to cope. And so that's what they rely on. And then over time just becomes addicted.
Because it also says here that 41% of individuals in households earning less than $15,000 annually smoke.
Yes. Yes. Um, Money is being spent on tobacco products. Again, it's an addiction. There's a need for it, and so they will find the money and the dollars to actually purchase those products to help them, quote unquote, cope or deal with those issues that their life issues that they're dealing with.
And so if you want to talk to Chriselle Stipe from the Louisiana Campaign for a Tobacco-Free Living, we're in conversation with her about the Great American Smokeout and about the Louisiana campaign to reduce the amount of people smoking in our states. We have a caller on line 1. Good morning, Janet. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, Dr. Wise and Miss Knight. Miss Knight,
Good morning.
I'm calling to ask, you talked about the smoke-free laws from bars and casinos, and I noticed it also when I go to games that they have a one area for all smokers. How can we work together to have that same law at parades, during parade time? Because we have a lot of secondhand smokers. You can go to the parade and try to watch one of your family members in the van or on the float. And they have people that smoke all across in one area. Can they smoke on the opposite side of the parade? To have one designated area to smoke?
Well, that and that's public place. So definitely that's something that we would have to work with the city on to see how we can do that. And that's the thing about going to events outside, is that you are exposed to the secondhand smoke. So definitely that would be an effort that our local coalition would try to work with the city on that. But I do appreciate you bringing that up, and that's an issue, and we're going to actually make a note of it and make it one of the things that we're going to work on. Thank you so much.
Can I get a number or somewhere I can get in touch with you, because I've been working on it now for some years for some help, and so maybe I can talk to you also.
Sure. If you could,
I can leave my number. I can give you my number now.
Your number, and we can do it offline.
So Janet,
Yes,
if you hold on, the producer will get your phone number, and we will make sure that Ms. Chriselle gets it.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much. So,
All right.
my question would be, Chriselle, we talked about the health and equity disparities. Can you talk to us about some of the economic factors?
Yes. Smoking actually in Louisiana, the annual health care cost within the state totals $1.89 billion due to smoking. And the Medicaid cost due to smoking, it reaches up to $800 million. And then the cost for the taxes that burdens per household is $1,200. So there is definitely an economic impact from tobacco use. You're talking even with people who work on jobs. You have absenteeism from people being sick due to tobacco use. Of course, in businesses, productivity loss. So there are economic factors to using tobacco. And also, in addition to that, I wanted to mention the effects on the Black community with tobacco use. Tobacco companies historically have targeted our communities with marketing menthol-flavored cigarettes. It's happened for decades now. And if you notice, or if you ask any of us on the street what type of cigarette they smoke, they would say menthol cigarettes, because 81% of Black smokers prefer menthol. It's something that has been targeted in our communities for decades, and it's still happening. Menthol cigarettes, menthol actually cools the throat when you're initiating tobacco use, and it makes it easier for you to use and get addicted. But it is difficult for you to quit when you use menthol cigarettes. It's possible, but it makes it difficult to quit. So I just wanted to put that out there in addition to that, that health and equity disparity is that the focus on the Black community with tobacco use. And it's something that we're working on in the New Orleans area too and across the state.
If you're just joining us, we're in conversation with Chrishell Stipe from the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living. And today, Thursday, November 21st, is the day designated as the Great American Smokeout, also called GASO. It is held on the third Thursday of November because the first one that happened in 1976, nearly 1 million smokers quit for the day. So it became a significant day. GASO was first started almost 50 years ago by the American Cancer Society and is a national movement to combat tobacco use. This annual event encourages individuals to take a stand against tobacco by quit smoking, even for a day. So, Chrishell, what is that website again, and how can people get in touch with you if they want to participate in this event or any future events you have moving forward?
You can go to www.tobaccofreeliving.org.
Well, listen, I hope you will come back for your next event. Anything else you're doing in the future, you will come here to WBOK and share it with us. But I want to thank you this morning for spending part of your morning here informing us about the implications of not only firstly smoking, but also secondhand smoking, how that implicates us even in our earnings, even in how poverty intersects with cigarette smoking. So thank you so much for this informative information.
Thank you so much for having me. You have a good day.
Have a wonderful day. Listen, y'all, we had our partners from Ochsner on yesterday talking about the smoking cessation program. And today we were in conversation with Chrishell Stipe from the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living. If you're a smoker and you're struggling to stop, there are partners out there who want to help you on your journey. And like our caller just said, even to stop for one day has vast implications on your health. So consider cessation as an option to smoking. But stay with us. We have to go to break. But stay with us. We'll have some more conversation about national news, all things politics, what's on your ballot. And I want to update you guys on the Botham Jean case that happened in 2018 in Dallas. Stay right here on WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
Hey, this is Dave Poston. Be sure to listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and Sunday evening at 5 p.m., bringing you the best Southern Soul barroom music with the Southern Soul Weekend Party Mix, hosted by me, of course. I'll be playing your favorite Southern Soul music by artists from all over the South, right here on WBOK 1230 AM or online at WBOK1230.com. The station you listen to longer. Listen to longer. Listen to longer.
Good morning and happy Thursday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. A quick alert for anyone who lives or has family in St. James Parish. A gas outage prompted utility crews to work through the night, going door to door to turn off gas and pilot lights at homes in the South Vacherie community. Officials say the outage was caused from a distribution issue with the pipeline, but they claim no gas has leaked out. If you do smell gas, though, call 911. Then the New Orleans Police Department is investigating a shooting in New Orleans East. We're told a man was shot along Night Drive around 7 p.m. on Wednesday. He was taken to a local hospital. This morning, there is no word on his condition or a suspect. Also in New Orleans, the City Council is expected to give its final approval to next year's budget later today. Mayor Cantrell's 2025 proposed budget is set to prioritize health initiatives, economic development, affordable housing, and quality of life improvements. That includes several projects like providing $10 million to redevelop the former Charity Hospital and $250,000 to address illegal dumping. And the folks at MSY are issuing an early reminder if you are flying this Thanksgiving. They say arrive early, have your proper identification ready to go when you get to the TSA counter, and research ahead of time so you know what you can and can't bring in your carry-on. And that's today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU. Have a great Thursday.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
New Orleans, it's time to invest in our children's future. I'm Eric Doc Jones, an experienced educator, proven leader, and tireless advocate for our students. I'm in the runoff election for the Orleans Parish School Board District 2. It is critical because our students deserve better. I'm honored to have the endorsement of U.S. Congressman Troy Carter, Louisiana State Senator Joseph Boyd, and Councilman Oliver Thomas. Early voting begins November the 22nd and Election Day December the 7th. Vote Eric Doc Jones, District 2, number 12 on the ballot. Our children, our responsibility. Paid for by the committee to elect Eric Doc Jones, number 12.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Join Inspire NOLA Charter Schools, Freddie King, Hancock Whitney, Six War Steppers, and more for 2 NOLA Love Drive-Thru Turkey and Ham giveaways. On Tuesday, November 26th, the first giveaway begins at 9 a.m. in Algiers at Alice Hart Charter School, and the second giveaway begins at 2 p.m. in historic Treme at the Mahalia Jackson Theater. Receive a free turkey or ham and food items while supplies last. We'll see you there. Learn more at inspirenola.schools.org.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
And we are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. Super producer Nara Sanders is behind the glass, holding it all together. I want to again thank our last guest, Chriselle Stipe from the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living, talking about the Great American Smokeout, which is going to take place today, Thursday, the 21st. So if you are in need of some assistance in quitting smoking, you should get with our partners over at Ochsner, or you can reach out to Chriselle Stipe from the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living. But what I want to also go back to, and I'm going to keep on going back to, is that tomorrow starts early voting for the December 7th election. Right here in our city, we have an Orleans Parish School Board runoff race between Gabriella Biro and Eric Jones. It will decide the next school board member for District 2, alongside 4 constitutional amendments that are on your ballot. Early voting starts tomorrow, November 22nd, and it runs through November 30th. Excluding Sunday, November 24th, Thursday, November 28th, and Friday, November 29th. Early voting starts at 8:30 a.m. and concludes at 6 p.m. The deadline to request an absentee ballot is December 3rd by 4:30 p.m. Requests can be made online by visiting voterportal.sos.la.gov and selecting Request Absentee Ballot, or in person at the Parish Register of Voters office. Again, please make sure you have a driver's license, a Louisiana Special ID, the LA Wallet Digital Driver's License, a United States Military Identification Card that contains your name and picture, or some other generally recognized picture ID that contains your name and your signature. If you do not know where to vote, you can go to the Louisiana Voter Portal to find where you vote on Election Day, or call your Parish Register of Voters office. If you need assistance, you can also, a voter with visual impairment and a person assisting them in voting shall go to the front of the line at their polling place. So if you need assistance, please have someone accompany you, and you can go to the front of the line so that you can vote. And please make certain that you understand that you do not have to wait until December 7th to vote. Early voting starts tomorrow. There are 4 constitutional amendments that are on the ballot, and if you need a breakdown of those constitutional amendments, you can go to Black Source Media They have done their due diligence to break down those amendments for you, or you can go to the PAR guide, which is PAR Louisiana.org, and get that information on what a yes vote means and what a no vote means. There are 4 constitutional amendments, as well as a very important Orleans Parish School Board runoff race for District 2. Now, everybody, y'all not going to see the District 2 race on all y'all ballot if you don't live in District 2. So, don't worry if you don't see it. If you don't see it, it's probably because you don't live in District 2. But there's a runoff between Gabriella Biro and Eric Jones to represent our final district to comprise our school board races. There were only 2 to begin with. All of the other seats were unopposed. So only District 2 and District 4 were up for election. District 4 was decided in our last election, and District 2 will be decided on December 7th. But you can early vote on November 22nd through November 30th. So listen, I'm not certain if you guys remember, but I remember in 2018, a Dallas police officer fatally shot Botham Jean. He was 26 years old, sitting in his apartment eating ice cream. Amber Geiger, the police officer on duty at the time, said that she had worked a very long shift, and she mistakenly went on, not only to the wrong door, but she was on the wrong floor. So she was on the wrong floor in her apartment complex. She went to the wrong door, and she opened his home, pulled her gun, and shot him as he sat on the sofa eating ice cream. Well, a federal jury on Wednesday ordered a former Dallas police officer to pay nearly $100 million to the family of a man she fatally shot in his apartment in 2018. Amber Geiger is serving a 10-year sentence for the murder of Botham Jean, a 26-year-old black man who lived in the same building. At the murder trial, Geiger testified that she returned from an extended police shift and incorrectly believed she had entered her apartment and thought Jean was an intruder. She was later fired from the Dallas Police Department after the shooting. After closing arguments Wednesday, a jury concluded Geiger had used excessive force in fatally shooting Jean and acted under the color of law, ordering her to pay a total of $98.6 million to Jean's estate and his parents, Allison and Bertram Jean, including $60 million in punitive damages. And I'm going to also remind you that those were the parents, the brother as well. They hugged her in court. They gave her a Bible, and they were talking about that they forgive her. That was that family. She only received 10 years for executing that child. And I call him a child because he was 26 years old, minding his business, winding down from a day of his own, eating ice cream on his couch. He didn't even have clothes on. He was in his boxers. And she supposedly mistook him for an intruder when she was the intruder. She was on the wrong floor at the wrong house. He even had an electric red doormat in front of his door, one that she didn't have in front of hers. So there were so many ways that she could have realized that she was at the wrong home. And if you remember it like I do, there's video footage of her pacing back and forth on the porch of the apartment, calling who I could only surmise would be her fellow police officers, telling them that she had killed a man in her apartment complex. And so she was only given 10 years, but the family has now been awarded nearly $100 million for the loss of their son. I don't think there's any amount of money that would make it okay. But again, when we go back to incidents like this, it takes me back to this idea that the president-elect wants federal immunity for police officers. And he said that in the wake of police officers shooting a black woman in her face after he asked her to go and remove a pot from the stove. She called them to her home because there were what she thought were intruders in her yard. And she wanted to make certain that she had some assistance. So she called 911 and they showed up. But instead of them knocking and asking her or inquiring about what was going on, they kind of like stalked around the home. And then she finally let them in. They were sitting down having a conversation. Well, she was sitting down on a sofa having a conversation. He noticed the pot was on the stove. He asked her, you know, you might want to go get the pot before it boils over or whatever, he said to her. She goes to remove the pot and he shot her in the face. And so for me, those are the kind of stories that make me have great pause when we talk about federal immunity for police officers, especially those who color outside of the line when it comes to serving and protecting the people who entrust them with their safety. So this case happened September 6, 2018. Jean was sitting on a couch eating ice cream when his upstairs neighbor walked through his apartment door and pulled out her gun. Geiger had driven home in her police uniform after working a 13-hour patrol shift, according to the civil complaint filed in U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Texas. She has claimed self-defense. Could you imagine? She claimed self-defense. She went in that man's home with her duty weapon. He's eating ice cream, and she claimed self-defense, saying she went on the wrong building floor, accidentally entered Jean's apartment, thinking it was hers, and mistook him for an intruder. The off-duty officer drew her weapon and began issuing verbal commands immediately after entering Jean's apartment, according to court filings. Citing her interview with the Texas Rangers, Jean attempted to comply. He attempted to comply. That's for all of those, you just need to comply, folk. That's for all of those, he should have listened, folk. He attempted to comply, the complaint said, and slowly stood up in his own home, off of his own couch. Geiger shot Jean in the chest with her service weapon without any lawful justification, the lawsuit said, noting Jean was unarmed, not attempting to hurt anyone, and in his own home. After shooting Jean, Geiger continued to yell verbal commands while he asked why she had shot him. The complaint said Geiger called 911 and her attorney, but she did not render medical aid to him. Jean opted to represent herself in the lawsuit. The city of Dallas and the Dallas Police Department were not immediately available for comment. And now they're saying the family is seeking police accountability. I wonder what that would look like, because you can't be in your own home eating ice cream. You can't be in your own home with your legally owned weapon. You can't drive in your own car and be pulled over. You can't play in the park in your neighborhood. You can't visit your daddy neighborhood and walk to the store for Skittles and an iced tea. What can you do as a black person in this country, especially when none of the policies seem to govern us equitably as they govern others? But that is the update on the Botham Jean wrongful death lawsuit. She is still currently serving her 10 years. I do know that she put in a request to get out of jail early. I'm not certain where they are in that process, but I do know that she petitioned to be released before her 10 years were up. But that's the same family that handed her a Bible and gave her a hug in court. And they were talking about forgiveness, you know. So that's the update on that case. I want to strongly pivot to my girl, Representative Jasmine Crockett out of Texas. If you follow her like I do, you know she had a heated conversation about the word oppression and how the Republicans, her counterparts on the other side of the aisle, are trying to co-opt oppression. Speaking to congressional colleagues from both sides of the aisle on Capitol Hill Wednesday, Representative Jasmine Crockett slammed a proposed GOP bill that would fire all workers that work in offices related to diversity, equity, and inclusion because DEI oppresses white men. Did y'all catch that? These people want to be oppressed so bad. I have never seen people signing up for oppression. I mean, that's almost like you raising your hand saying, let me get on the boat. You know, steal me from my land. You know, I just find it absolutely asinine that folk want to be oppressed so badly. She took her time at the podium to give what she called a vocabulary lesson on the meaning of oppression, arguing that the reason why some GOP lawmakers want to remove Black history from school curriculums is to spread the lie of white oppression. Let me tell you that the reason that my colleagues wanted to make sure you understood the same Black history that your side of the aisle wants to delete out of classrooms is because you can misuse words like oppression. There has been no oppression for the white man in this country, said the Democrat from Texas. Listen, I will gladly, choose a world where folk who look like me didn't have to live under unrelenting oppression. I would gladly choose a world where we could just exist without folk being all up in our business when we're trying to just live, right? Worrying about what neighborhoods we're driving in, worrying about if we belong in those neighborhoods. I will gladly put my hand up and opt for a world where we can just do the same regular everyday things that other folk are doing without the watchful eyes of white supremacy. I would gladly sign up for that world. I don't know about you, but I would. She continued, welcoming anyone to inform her on the ways white people have been oppressed. You tell me which white men were dragged out of their homes. You tell me which one of them got dragged all the way across an ocean and told that you're going to go to work. We're going to steal your wives. We're going to rape your wives. That didn't happen in the white community. That is oppression, Crockett said. We didn't ask to be here. We're not the same migrants that y'all constantly come up against. We didn't run away from home. We were stolen. And I think it's very sad that in 2024, you have to give people who were elected to governmental positions the definition of oppression because they want so badly to be oppressed. What you have to do is own your history, atone for your history, and stop trying to run away from the fact of the matter. The fact of the matter is oppression does not exist for you. White supremacy ensures that you have all of what you need. That's why I don't understand how anybody could think that being diverse, being equitable, and including people is somehow oppressive to people. That is insane. It is the very opposite of what DEI hopes to promote. The only reason we need DEI initiatives is because we're blocked out, locked out, and kept out of spaces and places where white folk can just easily walk in, ill-prepared, unqualified, and they can walk in and somehow have access and get positions and lead organizations and work in high-paying, well-paying, well-respected jobs like the commander-in-chief of these United States. And then you can try to oppress or ostracize an entire group of people. I think it's weird behavior. Look, if you want to talk about this conversation, the number here is 504-582-9422. My question is, why does the GOP want so badly to be oppressed? Do you not have everything at your fingertips? Do you not have all of the opportunities that America promised? Like, why do you want to be oppressed? Who's signing up for oppression? And I'm wondering if they understand that to sign up for oppression means to get out of the line of white supremacy. Like, you won't be able to benefit from white supremacy if you want to get in this line of oppression. Like, you gotta, pick a side. You want to be oppressed or you want to reign supreme? What you want? What do you want to do? I have a very hard time placating to foolishness. I just don't understand how folk can't get that there is no oppression on the other side, especially when you could be accused of the most egregious things and you're still appointed to cabinets to represent the commander-in-chief. Like, it seems to me a lot of the folk who are being tapped for cabinet roles or key roles, a lot of them are under investigation for something. The guy from Fox has a sexual assault claim being lobbied against him. Matt Gaetz is facing pedophilia charges. Even Linda McMahon and her husband are under investigation at the time that she's being tapped to run the Department of Education. So I'm trying to figure out if a criminal record is a prerequisite to work in his cabinet. What do y'all think? Let me know. The number here is 504-582-9422. I guess when you have a man that has 34 felony convictions, I guess he can stack his cabinet with folk who also have, not so great records especially in terms of sexual assault and predatory behavior. Is that a prerequisite? I'm wondering. And I'm also, this is so funny to me, but I'm also wondering why Byron Donalds hasn't been tapped to do anything yet. Neither has Candace Owens. I think Tim Scott has him something he's doing on a very small scale with the Republican Party, but he's definitely not in a key role, and he's definitely not in the cabinet. So the president-elect definitely doesn't think that you have that sort of value to him, where he places you in a position of that has real voice and real direction. Elon Musk seems to be the surrogate president, if you ask me. He seems to be making a lot of decisions, especially in terms of cabinet appointees. He's very well in the loop. So why is Byron Donalds not receiving, any love from the president-elect? I wonder if that's his way of fighting DEI. We can't support diversity, equity, and inclusion. I can't give you a role in my cabinet. I don't believe in DEI. Right? I want to punish folk who masquerade in diversity, equity, and inclusion because it oppresses white folk. That's what their commander-in-chief is saying. So listen, I think if I worked that hard to get that man elected, he ought to at least reward me with something. But see, Byron Donalds doesn't realize that a lot of the people that he's putting in positions have also opened their purses for him. They were high target donors, high value donors. And so, I mean, your little contribution, I'm sure you contributed something, but I don't think it amounts to what the McMahons have done for him or what the Elon Musk of the world have done for him in terms of finances. So maybe that's why he doesn't have a position. What y'all think? Is that why he didn't give enough money? But in terms of Matt Gaetz, they have now followed the money. They're able to show where the payments made to these young women came directly from Matt Gaetz. Like, they have tracked the money, and they have unequivocally said that the money came directly from him to the victims. So just like his idol, they were able to prove that he not only allegedly had relations with these young girls, but he definitely paid them for something. And so we want to be very careful here at WBOK and said he allegedly paid them for these acts that he's being accused of. But the folk in the national media are saying that they followed the money and he absolutely paid these victims. So we're going to take a break right here. But when we come back, we're going to continue to tell you about those early voting dates, what is on your ballot, and we're going to look at national news as well as local news. And I want to once again give a shout out to the state of Louisiana that moved from 46th to 40th in education. Shout out to Inspire NOLA Charter Schools, the top open enrollment school in the city per the SPS scores. So stay with us on the other side of the break. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
This is your news update for WBOK 1230 AM from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Today is a lot colder. You'll be able to tell that difference. Morning temperatures for the next couple of days will be into the 30s for the North Shore and the 40s for the South Shore. There's even the potential for frost on Friday. Today, though, mostly sunny with highs in the mid-60s. More mid-60s continue through Saturday for the highs before warming back to the 70s for Sunday. We're also staying dry for the next several days. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
So this new dose is... nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help.
Walgreens.
Metropolitan Human Services District wants to remind you that treatment is effective and everyone can recover. If you are looking for a recovery program and you live in the Orleans, St. Bernard, or Plaquemines Parish, visit mhsdla.org or call 504-568-3130. Recovery is possible, and MHSD is here to help. Metropolitan Human Services District, where we change lives.
Delgado Community College offers programs in business, technology, health sciences, and the arts. With over 100 career-focused degrees and certificates that are affordable, flexible, and transferable, we can give you the knowledge and skills to succeed. Delgado is a great fit if you're starting your post-high school education, or we can help you advance or change your career. Take a step toward being unstoppable at Delgado Community College. Visit dcc.edu to learn more today.
Greetings, WBOK family. This is Jason Clark, host of United Way and You. Be sure to tune in next Thursday at 12 p.m. when we'll be speaking with Melanie Richardson, co-founder and executive director of Training Grounds, a United Way funded partner. The topic will be the We Play, We Connect Family Resource Hub. Please tune in if you're able. Until then, we only have one life to live, so live united.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank, there's freedom here.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryant Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt, and behind the glass, holding it all together for me, is super producer Naren Sanders. Before we went to break, we were talking about the hypocrisy of it all, like the folk in the GOP who want to be oppressed so badly, and this idea that you have to have some sort of criminal record to even be considered for a cabinet position or a key role in the current the president-elect's administration. And so my producer and I were talking off air, and I was telling him, I said, well, Naira, we probably could go get us a job over there. Naira said, you got a record? Listen, is it a prerequisite or isn't it? I don't know. But, all jokes aside, like, we try to make light of serious things around here so that they're easily digestible for people. But this is very serious business when we talk about appointing people to cabinet positions and key roles in an administration that's going to govern us all. And so we have to be very clear in understanding what these appointments mean for us. And as one of the callers said earlier, if you want to, I think it was Reverend Calhoun, the easiest way to dismantle something is to put unqualified people at the helm of it. And so if you don't care about the Department of Education, you will put a WWE CEO in charge of the education of our children across this country. It's almost laughable if it wasn't true. Also, to that point, I watch all sorts of media to prepare myself to have conversations on this station. And I was watching The View and Sunny, and I believe the young lady's name is Alyssa. They're two co-hosts on The View. And they were having a very heated discussion about school vouchers. And Alyssa didn't seem to understand the point Sunny was making in terms of saying that if you're going to accept the voucher, you have to also accept the fact that you're taking funding from mostly poor communities of children, and you're taking those dollars and you're traveling with them to be able to go and bring them to a private institution for your child. So though you may believe it is the best option for your baby, it is crippling a system for someone else's child. That is the long and short of it. we could debate all day on the particulars of it and what it looks like and how it's being administered. But the black and white of it is, where is that money coming from? It's not coming from some magical fund. No, these are public dollars that are being used to create a voucher so that you can take your child from a public school and bring them into a private institution, and the public dollars still pay for that private school's tuition for that public school child. That is the long and short of it. And that's the conversation they were having on The View. Listen, we have a few minutes left, but we absolutely have a caller on line one. Good morning, Martin. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Yes, ma'am. Top of the morning to you, and thank y'all for all y'all do in the world.
Thank you.
I think some have knowledge good, some have knowledge better. A lot what Trump did to me, it wasn't even invisible. Even if you said Biden itself, I think he was one of the men made that 3 strikes you out. But here he have 38 or 39 convictions or so. You know, I mean, it just shows everything where it's not invisible. That there's 2 laws for black people and white people.
Well, that's what it makes us feel like, especially when most of our black men are in long-term prison sentences for something as simple as marijuana, right? Because the third strike was marijuana, and it put them in jail for the rest of their lives. And so I absolutely agree that there seems to be, this is a tale of 2 Americas, right? And so I absolutely agree there, because nowhere on the planet can you have 34 convictions and run for the highest office in the land, except for you're a white wealthy man.
Because what I got out of this is it's okay to be a pedophile. It's okay to cheat on your taxes. It's okay to rape. I mean, when do the people really, really and truly wake up for our black people? I mean, even just at the second line, you know how congested that was just for me trying to go to Chalmette, and I turned on Franklin. If we can just get those many people to vote, I mean, it would be an amazing start for us to be on one page.
I think they are making strides into being able to educate folk about how we can have culture here, how we can party, but we also have to make certain there's a purpose behind our party. And I think there's some initiatives going on all across this city right now trying to activate people's minds in terms of their voting prowess. And so I agree with you. If we can come out in record numbers for all of the things that feel good to us, we need to make certain we come out in record numbers for all of the things that feel not so good to us, and we need to vote. So I agree.
Correct. And one more thing, and I won't hold you. I mean, to me, well, you know what? I thank you for all you do. And again, I wish you well and good luck to you and your family. If anybody older than me on the radio, I thank y'all for what y'all passed from y'all generation to mine.
Thank you so much, Mark. We appreciate you.
Yes.
Have a good one. So listen, it's very obvious what is happening all around us, but we have to be able to take our unity and our collectivity and put it inside of the voting booth. There's an election coming up, and we can start here. Early voting starts tomorrow, November 22nd. It runs through November 30th, excluding Sunday, November 24th, Thursday, November 28th, and Friday, November 29th. It starts at 8:30 a.m. and concludes at 6 p.m. The deadline to request an absentee ballot is December 3rd by 4:30 p.m. What is on your ballot? 4 constitutional amendments. And if you need a breakdown of those amendments, you can go to Black Source Media, or you can go to the PAR Guide, parlouisiana.org, and get a rundown of what your yes vote means and what your no vote means. Think 504. Black Source Media has already broken it down for you. You don't have to do any work. Just log on to the site and read it for yourself and understand what those amendments will do. Should you vote yes for them, or should you decide to vote no for them? But the most important thing on the ballot this upcoming December 7th is the District 2 runoff school board race between Gabriella Biro and Eric Doc Jones. That race will decide our final school board seat for this upcoming season. So listen, if you did not vote last time, you still can vote this time. Like, don't allow your falling out of like with the democratic process to stop you from taking part in a process that has a very real and immediate impact on your quality of living. Yes, it's important to vote for a president of the United States. Yes, it's important to vote for a governor. Yes, it's important to vote for a mayor, but it's just as important to vote for these ballot amendments and for this school board race. So again, early voting starts tomorrow, November 22nd, and runs through November 30th. Election day is December 7th. Please exercise your right to vote. Now, look, on a lighter note and a funny note, I'm going to a wedding, y'all, on on December 7th. I don't have no date, though. So, look, my GM and my producer want to play with me talking about something. You need to tell the people you're going to the wedding and you don't have no date. Well, I'm telling the people I'm going to a wedding and I don't have no date. So, look, this is going to be really funny because I know where this is going to go, but whether I have a date or not, I'm going to the wedding. One of my teachers is getting married. Shout out to China. China was one of my teachers at SciTech and at Harney. And so she invited me to her wedding, and I'm absolutely going to go. So shout out to China and Rockaby the Singer on their upcoming nuptials on December 7th. Oh, my God. Is that election day? Getting married on election day? That's election day. That is absolutely election day. So look, I'm going to make sure I go vote, and then I'm going to go two-step at these people's wedding because I'm excited about it. Somebody trying to call?
They already calling that. Just drop like 5 calls out the way. Can't do that to it. Hold on, y'all. We coming.
Listen, look, y'all inundating my producer with all of these calls because I'm asking y'all about coming with me to this wedding. Look, I like meeting new people. I like having fun. So if you want to meet some new people and have fun, come to this wedding with me on December 7th. I only have 1 + 1 now. Not all of y'all volunteer at one time. But let me go ahead on and thank our guest this Thursday, Congressman Troy Carter. We want to thank you for all you do on behalf of this state. And shout out to Kershell Stipe over there at the Louisiana Campaign for Tobacco-Free Living and each and every caller of WBOK. Oh, and look, this evening, I'm going to be sleeping out along with the congressman. There should be a link on WBOK to donate. Every dollar goes directly to Covenant House to combat youth homelessness. None of it is for me, even though I'm trying to raise it. It's not for me. So if you hit the link and donate, you're donating to a wonderful cause to impact and to hopefully solve youth homelessness. So tonight, the Sleep Out Covenant House. Shout out to Renisha Robertson, Executive Director of Covenant House. And look, y'all stay right here. The Front Porch is up next with Greater Than Kimba. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about.
Have you heard